We have with us as guests today a very special duo. But before I tell you their names, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. They're fashion designers with esoteric yet global influences. Past collections have been inspired by such diverse influences as European military uniforms from the 18th and 19th centuries, to colorful Polish folk art of Wycinanki, to musical instruments such as the mandolin, trumpet, and guitar, transformed into motifs for their music box collection. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the fantastic designer duo, Pankaj and Nidhi. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the MS Pavilion. Welcome to the Auto Expo 2020. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Archana. We are very, very excited to be here. Actually, it's a great feeling. The buzz, the energy. It's something like we've never experienced before. Actually,
Yeah, we were amazed to see the hordes of people waiting to enter the MSA, and it's just incredible buzz here. It's something amazing.
we're very, very excited to see what's going on here and see all the action, the cars.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, but right now let's talk about your recent collections, which have been the talk of the town. What really are the influences on your collections when you actually have to think about it?
You know, Archana, we're Indian designers, but we like to think we are global, and we like to look at global influences in our ideas and our collections. Just because we're from India, we don't want to be recognized purely as an Indian aesthetic. We should be able to create a global vision for our brand, and that's what we try and do. We look at inspirations as diverse as Poland or Japan, and art forms from there, cultures as deep and diverse as paper cutting and military uniforms, and like you mentioned in the very kind introduction. But it's something that makes people look forward to our collections. They think there's some new story to tell each season. As designers, we have to keep changing and evolving.
And we always design for a woman who could be an Indian, she could be from Hong Kong, Singapore, America. She should wear our clothes, and she should feel absolutely confident walking in any big, maybe a ball or maybe a wedding. We don't want to have any boundaries. She should just feel beautiful, elegant, and well dressed and sophisticated for whatever event she wants to wear us for. And yes, travel is one of the most wonderful ways of getting inspired, definitely.
You have actually gone beyond our shores. You have a little space in Harrods now. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it's I guess when you're true to your identity and you're creating something that excites people, people will want to buy you. So yes, Harrods approached us, and we sell our collections over there, and we sell through many shops around the world, and that's very important.
But being in Harrods is like a sort of, benchmark that you have to reach to be able to be retailing out of there, right?
Yeah,
it kind of stamps a significance on the fact that you're globally accepted, and as a brand, that's very exciting for us.
And what's also very exciting for us and for everybody is that you've actually designed a lot of outfits for many famous celebrities. So tell us about which celebrity is probably your favorite.
Yeah, that's a very sweet story actually. We just rented out our premises, our first ever studio, and we just had literally one tailor. And one of our friends called us that I have this project, and you have to make clothes for Mr. A.R. Rahman for ad campaign for World Space. And we were blown over. We have utmost respect for him, and we could just not say no. And we didn't even have our labels woven. So we quickly sent our field boy to the next door factory, they were printers, and they quickly printed Pankaj and Nidhi on a muslin cloth. And literally the first tailor that we had, we started cutting linen bangalas and beautiful linen pieces for Mr. A.R. Rahman, and we feel it's like a blessing from God. We really feel he does have a spiritual connection, and we really perceive it as a big blessing.
It is the little things that make for the best memories, and I'm sure in your career you've had many milestones. Can you take us through them?
Yeah, Archana, your life story is made up of these little milestones. And as we look back, the time we started our business together, like Nidhi said, our first little studio, the first time we created a collection, did that first look for A.R. Rahman, like the first piece to be stitched out of that unit was for
How
Mr.
lucky
Rahman.
are you?
Blessing, thank
Yes.
you. And so many blessings. We feel blessed to be from a service background. I'm an army kid, and I think that gave me great values. My parents, we are what we are because of our parents. And I remember Dad bringing home his first car, and it was a milestone occasion. And of course, it was then the Maruti 800, and of course now Maruti Suzuki's bought by everybody, but that memory of that beautiful, shiny looking car, I think it was the same sort of blue actually.
Like a teal blue.
Yeah, it was like a, I don't know what blue it was called in particular, but like, yeah, maybe a teal blue. And it was the talk of the town, and everybody wanted to sit in it and have a ride in it. And I think when I sat in it, I felt like a king.
Yes.
When, of course, I couldn't drive at that age. I think I was probably 16 or something, but with Dad driving by my side, I felt like I owned the world. And that memory that I have from the Maruti 800, I think is priceless and precious. And that was the first car I sat in, the family owned, and it's the car that I learned to drive in. You know, and so amazing experiences like this, which make you remember where you come from and where you're heading to in the future. We're so excited to see Maruti Suzuki becoming such a big global name. You know, it's not just India, Archana. It's how well respected it is worldwide. Of course, it's the largest manufacturer of automobiles in this country, but their cars also being sold worldwide, and we as Indians feel very proud of that. You know, just like when we sell a jacket or a garment of ours worldwide through Harrods or through another store, it's a matter of great pride to be worn by Indians, but also be accepted globally.
You know, every designer in their life has certain moments when basically, you know, things change. From suddenly being, like you said, with humble beginnings, you suddenly like go out there and make a splash. Which moment in your career would you say would that be?
I think it has been quite an organic process for us. Each collection has been like a new door opening, and we have experimented with each and every show, each and every collection. It's like a book that you write. So I cannot really say that yes, this was the point which really made our career, because we were quite accepted critically and commercially, which I really feel is a big thing that happened for us.
Any achievements that you're really proud of?
There was this.
I think 2012 was a milestone year for us. Our daughter was born, and literally within a month, maybe it was the luck she brought us or something. We won some big.
Lakshmi कहते हैं.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We won a big international prize, the International Woolmark Prize. We were on the shortlist for the Vogue Fashion Fund, and we were in the top 5 finalists. We were in London that year to represent India at the Woolmark event a few months later.
We were also awarded the Elle Designer of the Year the same year.
So
yes.
2012.
Fashion tour, yeah.
Yeah, would be a good year.
Yes.
Would be a nice milestone year.
Also, the second born, our son, he also brought his own share of luck, and we ventured for the first time into couture. This was last year, 2019. After being in the industry for 13-14 years and making a mark with our brand, we finally ventured into couture. That what is Pankaj and Nidhi's vision of couture.
And how well was it accepted? And what was that journey like? Because the journey from Pret to couture is a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, I was reading about how cars are made and designed, Archana, and apparently it takes 4 or 5 years from the stage of conception, visualization to an actual product being out there in the shelves. The fashion cycle for our couture collection probably took also 4 or 5 years, and that kind
All
of was.
this while we were slightly hesitant, because we visualized couture to be very, Indian lehengas and Indian wear, and we just stayed away from it, because like we said, we wanted to be very global. That was very clear in our mind, that we will be very global. Our pieces will belong anywhere in the world.
So when did you decide to venture into Indian wear?
Yeah, so our couture line is actually very Western. It's not very Indian. It's very modern in its own way. There's a lot of craft, a lot of tradition.
Indian in spirit, but global in appeal, sort of local, if you want to call
Yes,
it.
yes. When you mention fabrics, what kind of fabrics is it that you generally like to work with, Nidhi?
We love to work with fabrics that have a lot of body. They hold their form. We love silhouettes. We love to create very beautiful separates, like easy chic pieces. So we mostly love fabrics which have a beautiful body to themselves. And we love to use textures, novel textures. They should hold our textures beautifully.
And as designers, you like you mentioned earlier, you got to evolve with time.
Yes.
A lot of the youth is also evolving in their choices. What do you think about that sort of evolution?
There's so much available these days, Archana. There's choices far and wide in everything, from clothing to technology to automobiles. I think it's about making conscious choices, the right choices. There's also talk of sustainability and overconsumption not necessarily being a good thing. But it's a fine balance we have to draw, honestly, because if we all start under-consuming, that's also not necessarily good for the global economy, and we've got to just make the right choices. So I think the youth should look at making individual choices, and if there's something that resonates with them, an idea, it could be a design philosophy, or if they believe in the promoter of that business or a company or an idea, if they believe in us as a brand, it would probably be because of the pure design ethos. And we on our own end, we're trying to be true and original to our country and the craft that we use to make the product. And on the sustainability note, we're also becoming conscious. I'm not saying we're great examples of being perfect in this sphere. Like cars are moving towards lower emissions. Everybody's striving to make the world a healthier, safer place, caring for the environment. We as designers also are trying to use more judiciously, reduce wastage, make tighter collections which have focused audiences that can be, and we encourage people to go out there and wear clothes. We feel greatly encouraged when we see somebody wearing a piece of ours from 6 years ago. It gives us equal happiness as much as we'd get if they bought a piece off the shelf tomorrow. So that sort of timelessness in design, and at the same time being prevalent, being sort of relevant to current times, it's a challenge for the design industry, and that's a fine line we have to walk together.
Speaking of relevance, one thing which is definitely relevant now, like you mentioned, is sustainability. Is the fact that we have to be environmentally friendly. So is there any particular practices that you adhere to now, given the current climate atmosphere?
Archana, and we've just discovered through this very recent project, and in fact it's to do with the show that we are on at next week at the Fashion Week. There is this textile we've used extensively, which is made entirely out of plastic bottles.
Wow.
And you have to touch it and feel it to believe it. You wouldn't ever imagine, because at some level you'd think that it'd be a bit coarse or a bit, sort of
Not breathable.
Not breathable. But it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing with this, literally from plastic bottles. There's nothing else that goes into it except plastic bottles, which are sort of collected from all over the country in a sort of realistic, safe way. And this goes into making this textile, and it's available out there. It doesn't increase your cost by that much to make the collection. Obviously, it's slightly more expensive than the standard fabric. But how amazing that such a thing exists in our own country, and we feel many more brands should use such fabrics. So, small step, but at least we are becoming conscious of using things like that.
This year at the Auto Expo 2020, Maruti Suzuki came up with a wonderful initiative called the Mission Green Million. What are your thoughts on it?
Archana, I think it's the best idea I've heard for the year, for the decade, perhaps for the century. Maruti Suzuki's Mission Green Million. Oh my God, what a thought, what a concept, what an idea. We all need to be a part of this as a community to save our planet, to have a safer, brighter, cleaner future for our kids. Guys, Mission Green Million, mission possible.
Thank you so much, Pankaj and Nidhi, for being here with us today at the Maruti Suzuki studio and sharing everything about your wonderful, wonderful journey. All the very best in the future. And for those of you who are watching us, I hope you're liking what you see. And if you do, remember to share using the hashtag Maruti Suzuki Studio and the hashtag Maruti Suzuki AE20.